Hi everyone, I am Dr. Gopikrishnan, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Aerospace Engineering at SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Today we are going to see the video lecture on the topic of kinematics of machines. So this is going to be a very interesting topic for you, and let us straight away get into the video lecture number 1. Theory of machines is the topic I am going to present today. The meaning of theory of machine is that we know the literal meaning of machine. That is, for example, if you are giving some kind of energy to the machine, it will be giving some other form of energy, which is called as a machine. Say, for example, bicycle. Bicycle is going to be called as a machine. It's basically a machine. If you are giving the rotation to the one of the components of the bicycle, it gives the transportation. So one form of energy is converted into another form. So this is what a machine is made up of, is meant for, right? So if we are going to study the forces acting over the system and what are all the statics and the dynamics part of the materials of the machines, then that study is called as the theory of machines. Do you understand the concept of theory of machines? It's that much simple, right? Yes. And theory of machines is divided into two segments: kinematics of machinery and the dynamics of machinery. And dynamics of machinery is again classified into statics part and the kinetics part. All right. What is the real meaning of kinematics of machinery, dynamics of machinery, statics, and the kinetics? So, uh, from the mechanical point of view, from the theory of machines point of view, it is very much important to understand the concepts of kinematics of machinery and the dynamics of machinery. So, for example, if you are studying a component or a system consisting of a number of components, then the study is called as a mechanics, right? We are going to study about the machines, and we are going to deal with the analytical parts and the problematic parts and the theoretical parts of the components in the machine. So, if you are studying the different forces acting over the components without studying its mass and the effect due to the mass, that is what we call it as the kinematics of machinery, right? And if we are studying the various components and various forces acting over those components and the effects created by the forces acting over the components, then that kind of study is called as the dynamics of machinery, right? Do you know that? Do you understand the difference between kinematics and dynamics? So literally studying the components and literally studying the forces acting over the components is called as kinematics of machinery. In addition, you are going to study the different components, different geometries of the components, different forces acting over the components of the machine, right? In addition, you are going to study the effect of force acting over the same component. That is what we call as the dynamics of machinery. All right, yes. When the effect of forces are studied over a given set of components or a given system, then the study is called as dynamics of machinery, which is again classified into two categories. It can be either the static part or the kinetic part. All right. What is called the static? Static is nothing but if you are going for the dynamic study over a component that is in the idle condition, that is what we call it as the static part. Whereas if you are going for the dynamic study of the components or a system of components, which is moving, which is not idle, which is not stationary, then that is what we call it as the dynamics of machinery. The segment is called kinetics, right? So understand the difference between statics and dynamics under the heading dynamics of machinery, and understand the difference between kinematics of machinery and dynamics of machinery. And here is the definition for the concept of kinematics. Kinematics is a branch of classical mechanics which describes the motion of points, bodies or objects, and system of bodies or a group of objects without consideration of the causes of motion, right? All right. So, kinematics is going to be the branch of, we can call it as engineering mechanics. That is, study of forces over a system is called engineering mechanics. So, The subset of engineering mechanics is the kinematics, which describes the motion of the points on the system or the motion of bodies in the system or the motion of systems of bodies, but the only thing is you should not consider the causes of motion. You should not consider the forces acting over the components. We are going to consider only the effects of the forces of the components. We are not going to consider the force itself, right? That gives a pretty necessary meaning of kinematics.